Brandon Sheppard was fast this past weekend with Lucas, and he did it in a new rocket design. We'll talk about at least a few of the updates. Plus, Austin Kirkpatrick's AK Racecars is open for business. Lucas, Lee, and Tyler Erb both win, but we're not very happy about it, and a lot more today. Let's go. It's Monday, July 7th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you need to do an oil change this summer on your car, maybe grab a set of brake pads or a new battery or need some cleaning products, let me help you out. Head over to DIRTRACKR.com/advance and use code GEARUP at checkout to get 15% off any order or 20% off an order of $100 or more with Advance Auto Parts. You can order online and they will ship your goodies right to your house. That's code GEARUP at checkout at DIRTRACKR.com/advance to save some money this summer with Advance Auto Parts. Act fast because this deal expires on July 13th. I'll also leave the link below in the video description. There's no question that this past weekend's Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series events were good ones for Brandon Sheppard and the Rocket House Car team. A win at Atomic on Friday night, pole on Saturday, laps led, and a third place finish at Muskingum County. We talked on the Sunday Daily Show about Atomic being Shep's first Lucas win since February of 2024. I also wondered if maybe this wasn't the real start of a Rocket 1 turnaround, because even this season it seems like we've seen a few kind of false starts. After B-Shep won the Friday heat race at Atomic and stopped to get interviewed live on Flow Racing, I started getting messages about his car. Sheppard mentioned a few places this weekend that the Rocket 1 was a new car and that the crew at Rocket had been working hard to get it together. Most times when you hear drivers talking about getting a new car together, they aren't referring to chassis redesigns, but instead just a fresh chassis from the builder. In this case, though, word on the streets is this Rocket is another new iteration. The stickers on it still say Rocket XR 1.2, but is this the time for XR 1.3 or 1.2.2 or maybe even Rocket XR 2? Even on just the little stuff we can see that isn't covered by bodywork, there are some significant differences. The big one that's easy to spot is the bar over the driver's left shoulder that goes down in the door. With the angles of the photos, it can be difficult to find direct comparisons that show kind of the exact same angle of the bars, but I grabbed a screenshot from Fairbury back in May when Sheppard was a heat race winner, and we can compare that to the images from Atomic last Friday night. That down bar to the driver's left, kind of over their shoulder, previously was much straighter with the bend a lot higher up. Now that bar is much more rounded, and it looks like it disappears into the door bodywork at a much sharper angle. Also, if you look in front of the driver, that bar on the front left that you often see drivers with their hand on when they're rolling around has been relocated. Before, it was longer, welded up much more closer to the overhead halo. Now it's much lower, actually below that little roof support bar. It looks as though Mark Richards and his team have made some significant changes to the safety cage around the driver. And my assumption is that if there are changes in this area, there are likely other differences as well. Some friends in the late model pit area have confirmed to me that this is a new design and direction for Rocket, but the full scope of the changes isn't quite known yet. That more rounded down bar does resemble what we see on the Longhorn, and that was a comment I got sent a few different times. Not that Rocket couldn't get its hands on a Longhorn if they wanted to dissect it, but B-Shep would also be intimately familiar with those designs given his time as Longhorn's house car driver the previous few seasons. Whatever Rocket has done, it definitely paid dividends this past weekend. I'm sure if the speed continues, Rocket customers will be clamoring to get their hands on one. But very clearly some new stuff happening on the Rocket side. Sticking with dirt late model chassis news, Austin Kirkpatrick, who is known for his very different designs under his AK Racecars brand, announced last night that he's going to start selling his chassis. His first production-ready design is called the REV1, and he's taking orders now. The announcement came in a YouTube video where Kirkpatrick walks viewers through the entire process for the design, showing off CAD renderings, stress tests on the chassis and roll cage, and talking about the use of generative AI in the design of certain parts. Besides wanting to build a car that goes fast, Kirkpatrick also focused on driver safety and repeatability in the build process. It's not uncommon to hear racers and teams talking about getting, quote, good cars or bad cars fresh off the build jig, and he's hoping to mitigate that with tighter tolerances and a newly designed jig. Kirkpatrick has been proving out his car concept this season with Ross Bales in the seat. The car with that wild-looking wrap has made starts all over the Southeast and at Eldora during the Dirt Late Model Dream. Bales has had speed in the car that included early in the season at the Wild West Shootout, and Kirkpatrick went 17th to 8th with the Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series, easy for me to say. That was a few weeks ago at Cherokee. That was actually the race that Joseph Joyner won. Even if you aren't in the market for a dirt late model chassis, go check out his announcement video on YouTube. I'll link to it below. Super interesting stuff. In Sunday racing action, Chase Dietz closed out PA Speedweek with the win at Path Valley. He got around Ryan Smith inside 10 to go to earn his first win of the week and his first career Speedweek score. He's got 4 total 410 wins this season, with all coming at different tracks. Dietz had an up and down Speedweek with some podium runs, but also a crash at Lincoln and a 12th place run at Hagerstown. Anthony Macri's top 5 run was more than good enough for him to wrap up his 3rd straight PA Speedweek title. The only other driver to do something like that was actually Fred Raymer. Macri never outside the top 5 in any of the 7 completed Speedweek races. He had a win and 4 podiums to go along with that title. With the Summer Nationals, Week 4 closed out with a Tyler Erb win at Duck River Raceway Park, but it was Jason Fager who won the championship for the week, beating Erb by just 1 point. Erb won 3 times in Week 4, but things were undone for him by a 20th place finish at LaSalle. Fager's average finish for the week was 4, while Erb's was 5.3. Turbo, though, seemingly not pleased with missing out on the championship 2 weeks in a row, saying last night in Victory Lane, quote, "Apparently, this is 2 weeks in a row I've got effed out of 10 grand. Erb dropping a few F-bombs in his post-race interview, though, ended up feeling pretty tame compared to modified Nationals winner Lucas Lee going off later on. That was maybe the angriest win interview I've ever seen. Lee not happy with Chase Holland, who he got stacked up behind on the initial start. In an expletive-laden rant, Lee called Holland a, quote, bozo clown and said he could, quote, go beg some effing money, among several other insults. It felt a lot more like a guy who just gotten crashed and was out versus a driver who just won his 8th career series event. Lee looking like he had a few things to say to some folks in the crowd as well as he wrapped up that very brief interview. So much for having fun out there racing your car. Maybe a good thing for everyone that the Hell Tour is quiet today. The 5th and final week of the year starts tomorrow night at Shady Hills Speedway. 2 things to close out today. First, the Texhoma Racers Hall of Fame announced its next class of inductees in recent days. Later this year, in September, 10 individuals are getting the nod, including a mix of drivers and other motorsports contributors. The list includes Johnny Rutherford, Joe Wood Sr., Wayne Johnson, James McElreath Jr., Bruce Jennings, Eddie Hill, David Farmer, Ronnie Jones, Jeff Taylor, and Jim Uselton. For more information on the induction ceremony, find the Texhoma Racers Reunion and Hall of Fame on Facebook. And finally, shout out to sprint car driver Brody Ferguson. Brody was injured in a crash at Skagit Speedway over the weekend and is headed in for back surgery today. He's been a regular at Skagit all season, on top of making some micro starts at Deming Speedway, hoping for a quick recovery for Brody, and hopefully he can get back to a track soon. That's the daily for this Monday. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or the podcast places, and follow on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram for more dirt racing content. Hope you guys have a great day out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.